Good afternoon, Seattle. I want to welcome all of you here. Thank you. Welcome you to your Seattle Center. Before I make my statement, I'd like to introduce some of our guests. Len Potter, who's here on behalf of David Bunderman. David Schwartz, who's here on behalf of David Bunderman. And if I mispronounce your name, tell me. Tim Romani from Icon. Chris Carver from Populous. Joe Walsh from the Eagles. Francesco, tell me how you pronounce your last name. Aquilini, who is the owner of the Vancouver Canucks. Jeff Wright, the owner of the Space Needle. Chris and Jeff Ackerley. Peter McLaughlin, president of the Seattle Seahawks. Adrian Anauer, owner of the Seattle Sounders. There is a representative from the Mariners here, but I didn't get the name in time. Don Trudeau, part owner of the Seattle Storm and member of the Mayor's Advisory Committee. So, also Brian Robinson of Sonics Rising and John Barr, NHL to Seattle. So with that, once again, welcome to the Seattle Center. As a home in 1962 of Century 21's World's Fair, the Seattle Center captured our city's dreams of what the future should look like. And today it captures our dynamic cultural and civic life with more than 30 arts, educational, sports, and entertainment organizations on this campus. From KEXP to the Seattle International Film Festival, from the Science Center to the International Fountain, from the Seattle Rep to Fisher Pavilion, from the Vera Project to KeyArena, there is something for everyone here. And if the Space Needle is the front door of this beautiful place, KeyArena is the action-packed rec room. Originally called the Washington State Pavilion, and then the Seattle Center Coliseum, which means I got it right last week, the Key has been central to the city's identity for decades, and many of our most electrifying moments have happened right here. From the Beatles to Kanye, from the Supersonic 70s championships to the Seattle Storm's 2000 championships, this is a place where things happen. And it's now time to seize this historic moment of growth and innovation in Seattle to build an arena for the 21st century. This is one part, I want to emphasize this, one piece of a larger plan that it is already in place to make Seattle Center an international icon district on par with Chicago's Millennial Park, Hong Kong's West Kowloon, and Montreal's Art and Entertainment District. We must continue, though, as we grow, to be sure that we use our livable spaces, our open spaces, in ways that we can all benefit. Located at the intersection of our booming South Lake Union Tech Hub, a future light rail station, and two of the city's densest neighborhoods, downtown, uptown, as well as other neighborhoods such as Queen Anne, Seattle Center is posed to be a global cultural district. And that's why we're here this afternoon, because we have a community asset. It's called an arena, and it deserves bold investments. After issuing the RFP to rebuild the Key as a 21st century facility for entertainment, for NBA, for NHL, we received two strong proposals worth more than $1 billion in private investments. And I want to thank the Oakville Group and the Seattle Partners for responding and for the energy and effort they put into their proposals. I also want to thank the Community Advisory Panel, especially Coach Lenny Wilkins, for taking their time to evaluate these proposals. Thank you, Coach. Everyone who studied these proposals acutely were mindful of one fact. Seattle voters have made it clear that they do not want a publicly financed professional sports arena. After extensive review from the city staff, external consultants, and the Community Advisory Panel, I have decided to select what I believe will be the best deal for Seattle, the Oakview Group proposal. We will now begin to work with them to be sure that KeyArena is a place that the Sonics come back to that hockey comes to, and of course, that the Seattle Storm is always here. I chose this proposal that had the best design. Oakview's group blueprints were superior according to the arena experts hired by the city and our own internal process, and based on most of the community feedback as well. They're going to build an entirely new arena under the iconic roof. Let me emphasize that. They are going to build an entirely new arena under the iconic roof. They have kept the roof line intact, adding more square feet by digging a 15-foot below the existing floor. And the overall structure of this new arena is the most flexible designs for future modification as times change. I chose this proposal because I believe it is a proposal that will bring the Sonics back to Seattle eventually, attract an NHL team, and give us the best entertainment that this world provides, and bring it right here to where we are. Oakville Group's team, led by Tim Lewicki, has incredible relationships with the entertainment industry, with the NBA, and with the NHL. Finally, I chose the proposal that had the best financial plan. Their plan is privately financed and does not require any of the city's bonding authority. We asked for a minimum participation from the city. While all the plans have some financial participation from the city, OVG's proposal was the one I believe most likely to succeed, protect the city, and not put the taxpayers at risk. Assuming we reach an agreement, we look forward to working with this group for the next generation. So now we will begin that process, and we expect OVG to work with us on a number of key points. We must agree on the final financial deal, one in which the city is left in a strong position, and one where OVG can sustain their business model for the long haul. We must make sure that the final design is well integrated into the Seattle Center and enhance and integrates with the surrounding neighborhoods. We must work with OVG to ensure that parking and transportation plans are in place that move people to and from the Seattle Center with little impact on the surrounding neighborhoods. They must work closely with existing tenants like KEXP, Pottery Northwest, the Center School, the Cornish Playhouse, and again, the Seattle Storm. Once we have an agreement in place, I look forward to working with the Seattle City Council on the final process of review and approval. My goal is to have an MOU signed with OVG and the City Council by the end of this year, 2017. Once again, I want to thank OVG for submitting such a strong proposal. I look forward to continuing to work with them and the council and the community as we define this project and ultimately bring the Sonics, the NHL, and world-class entertainment to Seattle. As I told you before, when I was a kid, I was actually 7 during the World's Fair, Seattle Center was a breathtaking vision of what the future could be. Today we propose setting out from the heart of Seattle Center to build another breathtaking vision for our children and our grandchildren's future. This is not a nostalgic endeavor. This is a civic endeavor to connect the thriving business, transit, neighborhood, transit hubs, and the Seattle Center into a magnetic and magnificent park on a global scale. Thank you very much. And now it is my honor to introduce Tim Lewicki, OVG founder and CEO. Tim?
So first of all, it's my fault for the delay. I know you were all supposed to be here this morning and we had to push it back this afternoon, but I promise you it'll be the last delay we ever have with the new Seattle Arena. This was a fairly inexpensive one compared to all of the others. Let me begin by thanking everybody in this community, whether it be those that we proudly will now share this campus with, whether it be the advisory board that the mayor put together, the political leaders, the media, the Sonic fans, the NHL fans, the Storm fans. We have enjoyed getting to renew acquaintances and meet lots of our new partners and our new neighbors. We love your city. I've been doing this for almost 40 years. I've had the great privilege and opportunity to develop places like Staples Center, LA Live, and the O2. This, to me, is the most iconic, most visionary, and the greatest opportunity I have ever been involved with, and we could not be more excited. So to the mayor, we read all of the media talking about you gave lots of money away or you're subsidizing us, and I keep on looking at the agreement trying to find that. I can't find that. We congratulate the mayor on a good, tough process. I assure you that the commitments we've made, we will fulfill. We made a commitment not to use bond money. We made a commitment to come in and use our own resources to build this privately. We have some upside participation, but everything else is on our risk. We'll operate it on our risk. We will put the capital in on our risk. Those that want to go around and spread mistruth about the fact there is risk to the taxpayers, completely inaccurate. And when we sign our agreement in December, Mayor, we will stick to that commitment from day one. So to you, Brian, Ben, and the entire city staff, we want to thank you for your time, for the amount of energy you put into this process, and for giving us an opportunity to be your partner. I also want to thank some longtime friends that are part of this community, which is why we are so excited to be a part of this community. Peter McLaughlin and Chris McGowan over at Seahawks and First and Goal have been friends forever. Peter and I have known each other longer than we'll admit. Chris McGowan used to work for me many years ago. He will probably not admit that, but the relationship we have with that organization and the relationship we have with Peter and Chris personally, we appreciate your input, your advice, your direction, and we couldn't be more pleased than following your lead for the impact you've made on this community. Adrian and I have had a very long partnership. We helped build Major League Soccer. The Sounders are the iconic brand, not just in Major League Soccer, but one of the great soccer franchises in the world. And Adrian, we're looking very, very forward to being your partner in the community, being your partner in this endeavor, and I appreciate your advice and your input. Thank you very much. Irving will talk a little bit about the Mariners and things that we are going to do in that partnership, but we are also very anxious to begin to create content and do lots of things with them at their stadium. So thank you. The sports teams have been phenomenal. Most of all, to our partners at the Storm. So they occasionally get lost in the shuffle. We already have an anchor tenant, and it's the Seattle Storm, and we will treat them as such, and we will be aggressive at giving them long-term economic viability in the new building, and we are looking forward to that partnership. Finally, I've had the good fortune, it took me almost 20 years for Coach Wilkins to talk to me. For those that don't know, I was the president of the Denver Nuggets a long time ago. We had a bit of an interaction with the Sonics. It went okay for the Nuggets, didn't go so well for the Sonics. Now I'm really upset about that, and I wish I could do that over, Coach. Lenny, your work just begins. We are committed to working with you on bringing the NBA back to Seattle, to have an ambassador, to have a family member, and to have someone as passionate as you are, not just about the NBA and the Sonics, but this community. We're honored and privileged to be working with you, and I'm counting on you to help us return the NBA to Seattle. Thank you. So I have a deep connection to your city. My brother lived here for many years. He was a partner on ventures including the Seahawks and the Sounders. He loves the city, and I had a lot of time to spend up here with him. Peter and I like to joke about Pete Carroll being hired in my backyard in LA under the cover of darkness and at night when he made his decision to come to Seattle. In addition to that, I introduced Adrian to Joe Roth, and so we've had a huge part of this town. I chased and convinced my wife to marry me in Seattle. My daughter and my wife lived in Seattle, and so for us, we feel like we're home. This is the most important project our company will ever do. It's certainly the most important project I will ever do. Seldom in life do you get a chance to come into a marketplace in a city this unique, this dynamic, this visionary, and not only get a chance to build a brand new arena, but to bring winter sports back to the city. And we're committed to making sure that the passion we have for this city will be the passion that we give you every day to not only build a world-class arena for all of our generation, but to bring the NBA and the NHL back to Seattle. NBA back, NHL new. So we will be very, very driven by the community. We've already made a commitment through Lance and our team here to give $20 million back to the community. That's a start. We will do good things. We will take the platform you are giving us and make sure that we use it in a way to enhance the lives of those in need in this community. Taking those 1,000 kids that are homeless off the street is something we're extremely proud of, and you will continually see us lead with our heart and make sure that we give until it hurts and that we are a great member of this community. We look forward to working with the mayor. We look forward to working with this community at addressing, solving, and being a part of the vision and growth for the future of Seattle. So let's talk a little bit about some good news today. So we have with us our friends from Populous and Icon, and when we came to them about 8 months ago and said, we want to rebuild the arena in Seattle. And they said, great. And I said, but by the way, we want to do it underneath the roof and you can't move the walls. So hurry up and let me know how that goes. And for the first 4 months, it didn't go so well. And I always told Chris Hansen, Chris, if this doesn't work and we can't build one of the great arenas in the world, I will be the first one to come back and endorse you, get behind your vision, and fight hard to help that work. But if it does work, then this is what we need to get behind. And we again invite Chris, join us. You want an NBA team? We want an NBA team. Be a part of that with us. Get behind this. We'll pay for the arena. The economics are here for hockey. The economics are here for basketball. But Populous and Icon have built a world-class venue, and we will get it done, and we will build it on time, and they promised me they will build it on budget. Actually, they didn't promise that. I just thought I'd throw that in there. We have the most experienced team ever put together to go develop this arena. When you look at Icon, you look at Populous, we're going to add some additional minds with people like David Schwartz. We're going to bring in some local architects to help us on how we integrate into this neighborhood and Seattle Center. This will be a world-class venue. It will be top of the NHL and the NBA for economics, and we can and will not only make the arena work and get a rate of return on our private investment, but design it in a way where these two teams could be in the upper part of each of these leagues as to revenue streams. But in order to do that, we always said that we were going to go out of our way to bring in partners that could help us get teams. So we were very fortunate that right off the bat, Delaware North jumped in as our partner on the food service business. They have one of the longest standing traditions in history in facilities, and I don't think it's any secret that Jerry Jacobs and his family own an NHL hockey team. So to have them as our partner, to have them helping us with our vision, and to have them helping us with content in the building, it's a very good thing. We're extremely blessed to have MSG, not just because we need the economic wherewithal of MSG, but because they sit at the Board of Governors of the NHL and the NBA. And now we have a voice, we have a vision, and we have a partner that will help us fight every day to get those teams here. So to Barry Watkins, to Jim Dolan in particular, I want to thank him for getting solidly behind this. This is not an easy thing to do, folks. There may be a period of time we don't have an anchor tenant, and this is an enormous amount of money to spend on an arena without an anchor tenant. Jim Dolan never batted an eye. He stuck by us. He understands what we're trying to do in this marketplace. He thinks this is one of the great markets on the face of the earth. And so to Jim, Barry, the MSG family, to Nick and the Forum, our secret weapon on how we're going to operate this building, thank you very much for being a part of our bid. Thank you for being our partner, and thank you for seeing the vision. We're very appreciative of that. Thank you. We should give them a round of applause. Without them, we're not here today. Lance Lopes is a native. Lance Lopes has been involved in sports in this community forever. Lance Lopes was the first person I called and convinced him not to take another job that had been offered. Thank God he didn't do it. I appreciate you leading the charge. I appreciate you helping us get to this point. It is a good day for the Lopes family, Lance. You've done a great job here. We're very appreciative of keeping our feet to the fire to make sure we did this for Seattle, by Seattle, and with Seattle. Thank you. Appreciate it. You're going to hear from Michael Rapino and Live Nation. They're the largest producer of live entertainment in the world. They're the largest ticketing company in the world. He's going to tell you the uniqueness of this relationship, but it's very unique. Again, I'm very appreciative to Michael. He bought this right off the bat. He wants to be a part of this. We couldn't have a better partner. This building, I think, was 76 in the first quarter in concerts in the United States. We're going to change that. This is going to be a top 10 market. But let me repeat this, because no one knows this better than Irving Azoff and Michael Rapino. Concerts are a part of what we will do here. We are going to be world-class on concerts. We will be one of the top stops for live entertainment in the world, but we are going to get a team, maybe two, and we are host to the Storm. So this is a venue that will host both sports and music and do it quite well. And yes, there are economics that will be able to make sure we keep everyone vibrant and happy. So we couldn't be more pleased and proud to have the world's largest live entertainment company in the world invested in Seattle, invested in the new Seattle Arena, and invested in what we have as a vision for the Seattle Center. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. And then finally, my partner, Irving Azoff, you're going to hear from him in just a minute. He is the single most influential man in music, but he's also one of the most influential men in sports. To have him as a partner, he also bought into this right off the bat. Irving, thanks for believing in this. Thanks for taking the risk and going along with the journey, and now the fun part starts. We're also announcing today two new partners. We made a commitment from day one that we were going to go get you teams, and we are going to go do that. Again, we are going to do this in a way where the partners in the teams are partners in the arena. And we're going to do it in a way where if Chris Hansen wants to join us on the NBA, we would like him to be a part owner of the NBA team. So Chris, if you want an NBA team, this is where it's going to happen. And we will lead the charge with the people that we have that we're bringing into this group. In particular, being able to add two gentlemen today, and David Bonderman and Jerry Bruckheimer, not only as partners in the arena, but partners in helping us now acquire winner franchises for this marketplace. If you do a little bit of background on David Bonderman, you'll find out that he is, this is his second home. He went to the University of Washington. He is a Husky at heart, still very involved in the university. His first job was for that building right there, the Space Needle, in 1962 as a security guard during the World Fair. So he knows Seattle. He knows what we're after here. To have a man of this magnitude, to have a man with these connections, to have a man with this kind of respect. Yes, he's a part owner of the Boston Celtics, and yes, he's been looking at a hockey franchise for 15 years. Jerry Bruckheimer used to sit next to me at the Kings games. We all know not only what he's done as one of the greatest producers of motion pictures but television series, but he's a massive hockey fan. I always told Jerry when I found the right market, he'd be the first one I called. David Bonderman, Jerry Bruckheimer, and I have known each other a long time. You will not find two better people, two more class individuals, and two more dedicated individuals at trying to find us not only a world-class arena, but teams here. We don't have a better partner and a better spokesman than David Bonderman and Jerry Bruckheimer for the NHL and the NBA. If you don't believe it, talk to the NHL owners, and they'll tell you how they feel about Jerry Bruckheimer and David Bonderman. And so to have MSG, to have Live Nation, to have OVG, to have Bonderman, to have Bruckheimer, to have Len and his team with the Bonderman Company here, we mean business. We're going to get you teams, and we're committed to doing that. And I would say the speculation is accurate. First up will probably be the NHL. With us today is a very good friend of Irving's and mine, Francesco Aguilini, who is the owner of the Vancouver Canucks. He's probably the happiest guy around because this could be one of the great rivalries of all time, Francesco. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for your friendship and leadership. So we will get after it immediately. And as we're finishing the agreement with the city, and as we're beginning to do the design drawings for the world-class Seattle Arena, we are already hard at work pursuing every opportunity that's out there. If the NHL so chooses to expand, we will be all over them. If there is a team that they choose to move, we will be all over them. If the NBA, and they're not there yet, but if should they at some point in the future begin to talk about expansion, we'll be the first ones at the table, we promise you. But we're not going to let any opportunity slip. We have the wherewithal, the financial wherewithal now to do this. We are going to bring in additional partners soon, so you'll hear about some local partners that we're adding to the team. Again, this is going to be for Seattle, by Seattle, and with Seattle, so we will have local partners in the arena. We will have local partners in the team. We're going to get you a team. Mark it right here. I promise you, 2 things you could count on. We're going to build you a world-class arena that will be top in the business, top 10 in the business for music and sports. And 2, we're going to get you at least 1 team. So with that, Mayor, we're committed to getting this done. You two have my commitment and Irving's commitment and MSG's commitment and Live Nation's commitment and Bonderman's commitment and Bruckheimer's commitment. We're going to get this done, and we're going to get this done in December. Folks, we have work to do. Seattle is a brilliant city. I could not be more excited to be a part of your community. We're going to build you a world-class arena. It is going to happen. We will deal with the neighborhood and the transportation issues, and we'll deal with it so that we are part of this 12 million a year campus and do it so that we have minimum disruption to the community. We will not only be great neighbors, but we will be great for this community. And we can't wait to start playing hockey, basketball, and doing music at the new building. Thank you for your faith. Thank you for your commitment. And now the fun part starts. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you. Luckily, I didn't have to follow that act. I just want to take a moment and thank some people from behind the scenes who worked on this diligently. If I'm proud of anything that we've done as being mayor, in my time is hiring the best staff of any city hall in America. I'd like to thank Brian Surratt, the director of our Office of Economic Development. I'd like to thank Ben Noble, our Office of Budget, and of course my Chief of Staff and the ultimate strategist I've ever come across, Mike Fong. Thank you to the 3 of you. And now I think you heard about Irving Azoff just a little bit ago, co-founder of OVG and Azoff Music Management. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Congrats, Nair. What a wonderful, wonderful time this is going to be. My partner, Tim Lewicki, I refer to as the excitable boy. He has taken this to new heights, as you just witnessed. I've never seen him more excited or more proud, and we're so anxious to share that with him. When this process started, I reminded Tim that our friends from Pearl Jam had recently played at our building, the Forum, at a Temple the Dog engagement, and they came to me and said, "Do you know this place in Seattle, KeyArena?" And I said, "We know it well. I've been there many times with the Eagles and other bands." And they said, "You got to go up and do for KeyArena what's happened here in Los Angeles at the Forum." The difference of what has happened at the Forum and what's going to happen here is this building isn't going to just be about music, as you've heard. It's going to be about sports and entertainment as well. But Seattle is an incredible music town with an incredible heritage, as you guys all know. It's second to none in terms of its respect from the artists and my peers in the business. You deserve a first-class place to come see and hear music. When you look at our design, a lot of it is designed around the really successful design of Madison Square Garden with bunker suites and not a lot of glass around the building and a wonderful grid that holds in sound. Sound and the quality of the fan experience is going to be foremost for both sports and music. So as I did my due diligence after Tim got this thing started, I called my friend Francesco Aquilini. I went, what do you think about a hockey team in Seattle? And as Tim said, he was bubbling over the moon about the fact, he says, what a great rivalry it would be. I want to come and help you guys any way we can. So Francesco, thank you for being here. My partner, Jim Dolan, is also a musician. He has this band, JD and the Straight Shot. He would be here personally today, except he's in Boston, freezing in the rain, opening for Don Henley. But But Barry Watkins, the Executive VP of the Garden, is here, and I encourage any of you to ask any questions of him that you want. I think Madison Square Garden and the Forum speak for themselves. They're regularly, ranked 1 and 2 in terms of what musicians and fans think about coming to our buildings. We successfully juggle a schedule at Madison Square Garden. I think you did about 30 shows here last year at KeyArena. We do over 90 at the Garden, and we still have, 3 teams in the building plus a bunch of college, so it can and will be done. Francesco, with his building in Vancouver, it's going to be a lot easier to attract, because of the obvious geographical distances of coming to Seattle. When you can play Seattle and Vancouver in 2 quality experiences back to back, that will help immensely. So it's with much congratulations I say to all you guys, I know you've made the right choice. As Tim said, we'll stop at nothing to make this right and get it done on a timely basis. Pearl Jam have asked me to say that pending how long it takes us to get this thing done, they would love to be the first act to come back and rechristen this building. So just on behalf of all of us, I think I'm going to take the opportunity, Mayor, to introduce my partner, Michael Rapino from Live Nation. Jeff Trissler is here today also, who runs Live Nation Seattle. We had hoped to tell you today about a little event we have planned at Mariner Stadium headlining the Eagles. I don't know if any of you have read about the Classic West and Classic East festivals we're doing at Citi Field and Dodger Stadium, but it's earmarked to play here with the Mariners. If we can't get it done before your weather turns this year, it'll certainly happen next summer. But Tim referenced Live Nation and how important they are, but they are a company with a heart. They are a company that cares. They're going to take an equity piece in this building, which they don't regularly do in arenas, to show their belief in Seattle and the project. Michael has relationships deep. They manage over 200 artists. They promote probably 85% of all the shows in North America as well as around the world. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Rapino, who can tell you from the Live Nation perspective how we're going to do here. Thank you.
Hello, thank you. First of all, when Irving and Tim call you and ask you to be part of something, you step up. For some of the industry that don't know the background, Tim and I used to compete, and listening to him today, I'm sure glad we don't anymore. He's one of the best in the business. I'm thrilled to actually be on his side this time, helping him do what he does best. This venue is going to be world class. As you heard his passion. No more needs to be said about that. From our perspective, Jeff Trissler is here, who's been the #1 promoter in Seattle for 30 years. We are the #1 promoter in Seattle. But the challenge with Seattle is one of the great cities of all time doesn't have a world-class venue. And the challenge in the music business is the artists are touring more than ever, but they're also going around the world more than ever. Every city in the world is building a new arena. So you're losing dates, not just in North America. Artists now are going more to Europe, Asia, and South America. So to get Seattle where it deserves to be in the music history that it has, we've got to get a world-class venue. We did 25 shows here last year. As you said, Tim said, that puts us in the bottom end of the big cities. So we're thrilled the new venue is going to be built. Live Nation never typically would invest in a venue. We're usually just the content provider, but because I believe so much in Tim, Irving, Jim Dolan, and MSG, we're going to be investors. So we have a real vested interest to make sure that it's a great building, but more importantly, to make sure we take that 25 show count up into the new levels and make it a top 10 in North America. So we're thrilled to be part of the community. Jeff has been deep roots in Seattle with our festivals and everything we do, and we'll continue to support Jeff building this venue and world-class show count. Thank you.
So now it's an incredible honor to introduce the next speaker. He's in the Hall of Fame of basketball as a player and a coach, a Seattle Sonics legend, a member of the KeyArena advisory panel, somebody who's given so much back to this community in so many ways to help those who live on the margins. And during my time as mayor, he's been a coach to me in learning the world of sports politics. which is truly one of the more interesting politics I've ever been through. But with that, I can't thank Lenny Wilkins enough for his guidance and his coaching. Lenny.
Well, I don't know why I'm up here, but I do know that the best talks are those with a good beginning, good ending, very little in between. I won't say like the basketball game the other night, but it happens sometimes. Really, I'm excited. I'm very excited because I've always felt, even though when I first came here, I came kicking and screaming, that was because I was leaving a team that was in the playoffs all the time. But when I got traded here from Atlanta, we had a contract problem, and I got traded to Seattle, and I knew that Seattle was an expansion team. But when I got here, we fell in love with the city. My wife and I decided that we would not live anyplace else, no matter what. And we had many opportunities, but the thing that we always talked about was that this was a Tier 1 city. And it certainly is that. You've heard the people talk before me about what a wonderful place this is going to be, and certainly I would say that if ever there was a chance for the Sonics to come back, it's this opportunity here. And I'm on board with that. I want to see it happen. I think that sports is an unbelievable thing for young people. It teaches them to grow. It teaches them to think. It teaches them to have confidence, to believe that they can make a difference in the world. And so you'll see that again with the young people. So I'm not going to take up a lot of your time, but I do want to say I want to thank the mayor for this opportunity, for being a part of the Seattle Advisory Board. There were some wonderful people on there. They did all the work. I just kind of, yes, went along. But certainly the one thing that we all had in common is that we want this to be a Tier 1 place. We want this to be a first class. And certainly Tim has guaranteed that. I hope all of you had your recorders on when he was up here talking, because we want to make sure. But certainly thank you, and I really look forward to this happening. I think this is wonderful. Your city will be so proud, and the community will just thrive by all the things that will happen. So again, thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce the head of the King County Labor Council, Nicole Grant.
Thank you, Mayor Murray, and everyone, to all the print and broadcast professionals here. Hopefully soon you will be broadcasting from KeyArena, from a Sonics game. I feel like we have the dream team on this stage right now. The city of Seattle, thank you, Mayor Murray. We have Oakview, Live Nation, MSG, Delaware North. We have the thousands of union workers who are ready to build a beautiful arena, who are ready to serve all who will enjoy it here at the games and the concerts. Today is glorious for Seattle because this is about building something exquisite for our city. And I just can't thank everybody who participated enough. We're really looking to getting down to it and doing the work to make it happen, to build it. Thanks.
It's again an honor to introduce somebody who does so much for this city in the area of homelessness and in the area of homeless youth, and that is Melinda Giovini.
Well, thank you and good afternoon, everyone. Like they said, I'm Melinda Giovini, the CEO of Youth Care. And over 40 years ago, Youth Care was founded with the mission to help young people find safety and move forward with their lives. Now that remains today our mission and, more importantly, our passion. We want to thank Oakview Group for the invitation to be part of their redevelopment plan, and together we're going to bring job and job training opportunity to the resilient, hopeful young people that we serve every day who want a chance to make it on their own and to thrive in the world. Our clients time and time again verbalize how they feel invisible in our city, unworthy of acknowledgement and unworthy of our help. OVG has chosen to include them in this historic moment in our city. The very act of inviting our young people to be seen, supported, and more importantly included is transformational to their lives, and we want to thank you. There are more than 1,000 homeless young people in our community every day. This is a solvable crisis that requires resources, new ideas, and from every facet of our community. Youth Care is deeply, deeply grateful for the chance to collaborate and to share a vision for ending youth homelessness with the Oakview Group and with the City of Seattle. Thank you both.
And now our last speaker, the President of Business Development, Francesca Lewicki Bodie. There you are.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being here today. I will be brief since you've heard from many of us. As I'm sure you've noticed, there is a common theme that we're all echoing. Today truly marks a historic moment for Seattle, and we are proud to be part of it. Projects as unique and rare as this the projects are unique as this and rare, and we are focused to create a world-renowned sports entertainment facility that will reflect the rich community in which it's based and the global environment in which it will serve. Throughout this bid process, we've been focused on providing the best design, financial deal, and vision for your city. And with that, you have our commitment that this arena will enhance, vitalize, and improve connections with the surrounding neighborhoods and improve Seattle Center overall. We look forward to creating partnerships and programs where Uptown, Belltown, and South Lake Union businesses, restaurants, theaters, and residents will be better off with the new arena in place, not just when we open, but for generations to come. On a personal level, having lived in Seattle for a few years as a child, today is extra special, and why I'm so looking forward to working with our neighbors. Seattle Center is home to many historic and beloved landmarks, and it is time for the arena to retake its place as the heart of Seattle Center. Thank you for this opportunity, Mayor. Thank you to the city staff, and we look forward to working with all of you.
And now, Tim, you and I are going to sit down and we are going to sign the selection letter.
Irving, I want you to know my hand is not shaking.
Yes.
I would.
I'm going to take that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Brian? Okay, I know you all wanted to ask questions about the soda tax, so let's begin. Oh, by the way, Francesco, because I mispronounced your name, let's make the first bet by the end of tomorrow for the first game between the hockey team from Seattle and the hockey team from Vancouver. Yeah. Okay? Questions of any of us up here? Well, so the SODO plan is still technically alive, and the council, of course, as you know, vacations are in the council purview, not ours. work could be done on doing it. If we were going to send it back down to the council, though, I would want a very different process than was used the first time, and get all the players on the same table and try and come to an agreement so that it doesn't fall apart. So that's the best answer I can give you. Yes. I'm sorry, what their role?
Yeah. I know their lease was extended 10 years, but you mentioned specifically there would be no anchor tenant until there was a new store and a new thing. So just one.
So the Storm is an anchor tenant. And we want other anchor tenants as well. And Tim is working with the Storm on where they can play in the city of Seattle during construction. Well, this is easier than being on sports radio.
I think my relationship with Chris is probably better than his relationship with me today, just a guess. I called Chris when we decided to jump into this and gave him a heads up. And then I assured him that if we could not make this work, if we could not build a viable arena that was not only one of the best designs in the world, but economically viable for anchor tenants, that we'd get out. And then we sent a message back when we figured all of this out and let him know we were going to go for it and we were going to bid on it. So we have not talked recently. I'm sure we will reach out to him and his folks in the near future. If Chris's intention is being part of an NBA ownership group, we save him an enormous amount of money, and we get rid of any conflicts as to which site to choose. KeyArena is not going away. It's a historic landmark, 1962. So a reuse of KeyArena that makes it as good, if not better, than any new arena we could build here is the right way to do this. And we reach out to Chris. We'd love for him to be a part of that vision. And if his intent is to help bring the NBA back, you have an owner of the NBA in our group. You have two owners of the NBA in our group. We have Lenny in our group. We're going to get it to a point where we're going to give it its best shot. We'd love to have him as a part of that if he so chooses.
Yes. Yeah, it is. This is because I think let me begin with, we own this property. This property is in desperate need of renovation. If it were to exist even on, without major teams, we'd have to do something with it. If there's an arena built somewhere else, we have a huge liability on our hands, a place that could easily go dark and have a negative impact on the neighborhood. So that's one reason. Another reason is I think the proposal that they put forward is absolutely the best that we've got of any of the proposals. And finally, as I mentioned, we're working on a grand vision for what the Seattle Center can be for this city compared to other types of parks around the world, and that's part of it as well. Yeah, if we can't solve the issues of transportation and financing, it becomes deal killers, yes. They know that. We know that. By the way, I want to acknowledge somebody I should have introduced when I was introducing people, but the fantastic director of the Seattle Center, and that's Robert Nellums. Thank you, Robert, for what you do all the time. Well, when the streetification failed in council, myself and my budget director spoke with Chris Hansen, and I had indicated to him that we couldn't simply wait until the end of this year to begin a process on KeyArena. It is a liability to the city that we need to figure out how to make something that pencils out long term. So we began the RFP process, and as the information came in, as the consultants advised me, as the community advisory team advised me, again, there were pluses. The design of the other proposal integrated better with the Seattle Center. This worked better as an arena. And so on Friday, late Friday afternoon, I made a final decision about this proposal, and I spoke with both the commissioners of the NBA and the NHL. But as I've learned, there's 149 legislators in Olympia, and it's easier to keep a leak from happening there than it is in City Hall. So. As when I met with them at the end of my first year in office, they indicated they think this is a good market. The NBA has been very clear to me that the financial model for the current owners is one that works for them. And so at this moment, they're not looking to change that financial model. And I think that financial model is mostly based on television and the revenue from that. And I guess when that changes, an opportunity might arise. Yes.
So no, I didn't indicate there would be a long delay. In my world, there will be no delay because that's the way we think. We go straight ahead. We've spent a lot of time. The NHL has to decide to expand to a 32nd team. That's the decision of the commissioner, and we have never gotten ahead of him, and we won't start now. But should he make that decision, and we're hoping that he will, and it's a fairly good bet that they need a even number of teams, we will be all over it. If we don't get an anchor tenant, we are prepared to continue to operate with the Storm, with Live Nation, and with other family shows and activity. But that's, despite what I occasionally hear and read, that we only want to do music in here, we have spent an enormous amount of time talking already to both leagues, and we agree with the mayor. Commissioner Silver has made it very clear to us they're not discussing expansion, not in the near future. So we're not counting on that. I always chuckle when I hear everyone say an NBA team's coming here. There's no team coming here without the commissioner and the owners deeming that a team's going to come here. We think the NHL is the better bet for today. We think if we do a great job with the NHL, that the NBA will put Seattle in their plans if and when they expand or if and when they need to find a market for a current team. But we don't think that's going to happen for a while. We'd like to get after the NHL as quickly as the NHL would begin the conversation, but it's up to Commissioner Bettman to begin the conversation.
Yes. How different? Well, I'm not going to negotiate in front of the media, but there are certain aspects of the financial arrangement that we would like to see revised, and so we'll enter into those negotiations. I'm sorry. No, it actually isn't. I've been pretty clear from the beginning that we need to look at KeyArena. We've been talking about a different vision for the Seattle Center for almost 2 years now. We've had a series of charrettes. We're in negotiations with the school district on Memorial Stadium. And I'm also somebody who believes that Seattle can get things done faster than we usually get things done. And we've had this discussion on KeyArena for a decade and a half. I think it's time to act, and I think it's time to act now. And I don't think this opportunity is one that we should pass up.
One more question. There is some ticket taxes,
Right. As I pointed out in my remarks, whether it's Chris Hansen's proposal or the other proposal, each talk about different things in relation to admissions or taxes, and that's something we will work out with them to get the city the best deal possible. Well, there isn't going to be no bonds, okay? And we're willing to talk about some of the other areas that have been used in stadiums in this area. But it's got to be a better deal than we currently see. Thank you all very much. Thank you.